In the first act, Susan and Harry prepare lunch for Harry's daughter, Michelle, and her friends.
Michelle and her friends are at the aquarium in Brooklyn. They come back here for lunch, then go uptown to the Museum of Natural History.
Susan likes living in New York City.
It's so convenient. I can take the bus to work, or the subway, or a taxi.
Harry lives in the suburbs, but he likes the city too.
The truth is, I'd like to live in the city.
A little later, Harry and Susan talk privately as they wait for the girls to arrive.
They'll be here any minute. Susan, I'd like to continue this conversation later.
What do you suppose they're talking about?
You like living in New York, don't you?
Oh, I love it. It's so convenient. I can take the bus to work, or the subway, or a taxi. And there's so much to do. Lots of movie houses and the theater.
I know what you mean. I'd like to live in the city. But living in New Jersey in the suburbs is better for Michelle. Trees, grass.
There's a lot of good things about suburban living. I grew up in Riverdale, remember? So I know. But as a working woman, I think New York has all the conveniences, including the best tomatoes.
The truth is, I'd like to live in the city. Michelle's the right age. There are lots of things for her here.
You're right, Harry. Today is the perfect example. Michelle and her friends are at the aquarium in Brooklyn. They come back here for lunch, then go uptown to the Museum of Natural History. There's so much for young people to see and do. It's just incredible.
Not just for young people. What about me? I've never been to the aquarium or the Museum of Natural History. Have you?
Oh, yes, Harry. My mother and father often took us somewhere in the city on the weekends. Dad was a busy doctor, but he usually managed to squeeze a Sunday in with Richard, Robbie, and me. I used to love to go to the Metropolitan Museum of Art.
Well, I've been there several times, twice with Michelle.
You ought to think about spending more time with Michelle at all the great places in the city.
Well, perhaps you'll help me select some of the great places. And perhaps you'll join us.
Perhaps I will. Well, there we are. All set for lunch, Harry.
Looks inviting. I wish Michelle and her friends would get here. I'm starving, aren't you?
I can't wait to take a bite of the pumpernickel. It smells so delicious. Oh, coming! Who is it?
Michelle, it's us, Susan.
Come in, Michelle, and bring your friends along. We're on the 5th floor. Oh, you've been here before.
Susan, I really appreciate you doing this for Michelle and her friends.
Oh, please, Harry, it's nothing. I'm not just doing it for Michelle. I'm doing it for you.
Thank you.
I'm doing it for us, Harry.
Well, it's important for Michelle to see us together more often. That's true.
It's important for Michelle and me to get to know each other better. That's important for us.
That makes me feel good.
What, Harry? What makes you feel good?
Well, that you care about Michelle, that you care about me, and that you care about us.
Well, Harry, that's because I do. I do care.
They'll be here any minute. Susan, I'd like to continue this conversation later.
Of course, Harry. We'll finish the conversation when they go to the museum.
I'd like that.
So would I.
I like living in the suburbs. But living in New Jersey in the suburbs is better for Michelle. trees, grass. We have a nice house with trees in front of it and a backyard for Michelle and her friends to play in. It's a quiet neighborhood where people like to take long walks. Yeah, the truth is, I'd like to live in the city. Michelle's the right age. There are lots of things for her here. Like today, for example. Michelle and her friends went to the aquarium in Brooklyn. Well, then they went to the Museum of Natural History. I'd love to go there myself. But we could look at the dinosaurs. And Michelle likes the Metropolitan Museum of Art. We went there together. And Susan likes the museum, too. There's lots of things for us to do together in the city. Like going to the South Street Seaport. Oh, we had such a good time there. In Central Park. Oh, what a beautiful ride we took in the park. All those trees and sunshine. Like the suburbs. Or we could go to the Central Park Zoo. Michelle loves animals. You know, the city has so much to offer, so much for us to do together. Maybe Michelle and I would like it here. Maybe we would.
In the second act, Michelle arrives with her friends.
I'd like you to meet Audrey and her mother, Mrs. Cooper.
Susan's company has made a new game. She teaches the girls and Harry how to play it.
The leader takes the first 10 cards and lays them face up on this stand.
But Michelle doesn't really like the game.
I think it's too easy.
Too easy?
How does Susan feel?
Ooh.
Oh, Daddy, we had such a good time at the aquarium. I saw a real shark. I could almost touch it.
Oh, I'm so glad. Hi. Michelle, why don't you introduce everybody to Susan?
Hi, Susan.
Hi.
I'd like you to meet Audrey and her mother, Mrs. Cooper.
Hello, Audrey. Nice to meet you, Mrs. Cooper. I'm Susan Stewart.
And this is Shirley and Nicole.
Hi, girls.
Come on in. Come on in, Mrs. Cooper. Come on in, everybody.
The aquarium was so exciting. I had never been there before. The girls learned a great deal. Frankly, so did I.
Well, please sit down and tell us all about it during lunch.
We've prepared some tuna fish and cheese sandwiches for lunch.
I love tuna fish, don't you, Audrey?
I remember when I used to be a Girl Scout. My mother would take us everywhere, too.
Susan, I understand you're in the toy business.
Yes, I am. My company manufactures toys and games for children.
Susan's vice president in charge of new toys and games.
And the marketing of new toys and games.
Can we test a new game for you, Susan?
That's an excellent idea, Michelle. I happen to have a game which I brought home to study.
Let us try it. Don't you want to play? Nicole, Shirley, Audrey?
We tested it last week on 12 to 15-year-olds, and they found it to be too easy. In other words, boring. We think it might be just right for 10 to 12-year-olds.
That's us, Susan.
First, you shuffle the deck and lay them face down. Then you select the leader. I'll be the leader. The leader takes the first 10 cards and lays them face up on this stand. H, T, E, R, C, Z, E, P, E, S. Everyone gets a turn going counterclockwise, left to right. You have 30 seconds to make a word using as many letters as possible. You get 1 point for each letter, plus the person with the longest word gets 10 extra points. The first one to get 100 points wins.
That's easy.
Okay, let's go around the table. You first, Audrey.
Chess. C-H-E-S-T.
Good. That's 5 points. Next, Nicole.
Three. T-H-R-E-E.
Okay, that's 5 points also. It's your turn, Shirley.
Creep. C-R-E-E-P.
Creep. That's another 5-letter word. 5 points. So far, you're all tied.
Sheet. S-H-E-E-T. Sheet.
Sheet is a 5-letter word. Michelle, your turn.
Cheese. C-H-E-E-F-E.
Terrific. Michelle wins with a 6-letter word, plus she gets an additional 10 points for a total of 16 points. How are you enjoying the game so far?
I think it's too easy.
Too easy?
Michelle?
It's okay, Harry. Michelle is quite right. She just said it's too easy.
Well, I like the game.
I enjoyed lunch, Susan. Thank you so much. But we have to get going to meet the rest of the troupe at 2 o'clock at the museum.
Oh, it was nice meeting all of you. I hope you have a wonderful time at the Museum of Natural History.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a good time. See you in front of the museum at 5 o'clock.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Mr. Bennett. That'll be fine. And thanks again for the lunch and for the game.
Goodbye, Susan. It's not a bad game. It's just slow.
Just slow. You helped save our company a lot of money. Bye-bye.
You are wonderful with kids.
I am.
Isn't there a conversation that we have to finish?
Hello, everyone. It's time to play Take My Word. Here are the rules of the game. We'll ask you to make some words from these letters. We'll tell you how many letters are in the word, and we'll give you a clue. Are you ready? Let's begin. You're looking for a word with 3 letters, a 3-letter word. Here's your clue. You have 5 seconds. Go. Time's up. Who says? A cat, of course. Now another word. It has 4 letters, a 4-letter word. Here's your clue. Max is Susan's nephew, so Susan is Max's what? You have 6 seconds. Go. Your time is up. Susan is Max's aunt. Let's go on. Another 4-letter word. You can wear this when it's cold outside. You have 6 seconds. Take my word. All right, what do you wear when it's cold outside? Well, I don't know about you, but I wear a coat. Let's keep going. A 3-letter word, and here's your clue. You can do it with scissors. 5 seconds, go. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you can use scissors to cut. And now a word with 5 letters. Here's your clue. 7 seconds, go. Time's up. The answer is count. You can count with your fingers. And now, friends, for the last word, you must use all 10 letters, a 10-letter word. And here's your clue. What is Harry Bennett's occupation? You have 8 seconds. Go. All right, Harry Bennett is an accountant. And that's all the time we have. Thanks for playing Take My Word.
In the 3rd act, Harry and Susan are alone again. And Harry wants to talk.
There's a conversation we have to finish.
Harry is trying to say something.
Well,
assume that if you care about Michelle and you care about me and you care about us, that we can talk about us. I mean, you and me.
What is Harry trying to say?
There's a conversation we have to finish.
What was it about?
It was about caring.
Oh,
Yes, caring. I said that it makes me feel good that you care about Michelle.
well, I do care about Michelle.
And it makes me feel good that you care about me.
You know I do. You're a wonderful friend.
And it makes me feel good that you care about us.
Well, I do, Harry. It's only natural that if I care about Michelle and I care about you, then I care about us.
It's okay, Susan. We had this part of the conversation before Michelle and her friends arrived. Now comes the good part.
Like what?
Well, assume that if you care about Michelle and you care about me and you care about us, that we can talk about us. I mean, you and me. Isn't that right?
What are you trying to say, Harry?
What I'm trying to say, since this is so easy, here are 10 letters that express my feelings for you.
Oh, don't be silly, Harry.
Oh, you want a hint? It's 2 words.
You're making the game harder.
What? Can't you figure it out? 7 letters, 2 words that express the feelings that I feel for you in my heart.
Harry, I get it.
Well, does that mean you'll marry me?
Is that a proposal, or are we just playing a game?
Sit down, Susan. There's something I have to ask you. Susan, will you marry me?
It's such an important decision. There's so many things to talk about. There are 3 things that have to be done first, Harry.
3 things?
First, we have to decide where to live.
Well, that's easy. We talked about that earlier. We'll live in New York.
All right. Second, we have to talk to Michelle together about being married.
We'll do that immediately. What's the 3rd thing?
You have to ask for my father's permission.
Absolutely. But first things first, we have to go pick up Michelle.
Oh, I'm so happy, Harry.
Not as happy as I am. It wasn't easy for me to do, but I finally asked Susan to marry me. Well, does that mean you'll marry me?
Is that a proposal, or are we just playing a game?
I'm not just playing games. There's something on my mind I want to talk about. It's hard for me to say, but I can spell it out for you to see easily. I'm not just playing games. I hope you know how much I really care for you. No matter where you are, I'm always there for you. I want to share my life with you. So will you marry me? I will always love you, and I'll try to make you happy every day. Marry me. I will always care for you. We'll always have each other. We'll be a family. I'm not just playing games. If you could only read my mind, you'd know by now. I'll spell it out for you so I can show you how I feel for you. 2 words. Marry me. Marry